We can beat OKC if they sit their play. We can beat them anyways. We've played them tough this year. We can go 8-0, but at the very least, if we go 6-2, 5-3, that at least gives us a shot. Skywalking with Wetz podcast. Your boy here. Hey, we're talking Phoenix Suns today. It's been a rough little stretch here. We just beat Utah last night, sitting in the play-in. Who knows, dude? It's been a rough couple of weeks for the Phoenix Suns. It's been an up and down season. But before we get into everything, please like and subscribe right here and show the boys some love. If not, at the very least, let me know in the comments if you can get down with what I'm saying. And if not, man, let me know that too. Like, it is what it is. I ain't gonna be offended. But anyways, we're talking the Phoenix Suns today. We are coming off a win in Phoenix, but beating the Utah Jazz last night. It was a great game for multiple dudes. Jalen Green had 31. Malawak had 9 boards. Booker led the team in assists. So it's been a little rough, though. We're coming off a tough loss to Denver. We come off also on last Sunday, a week ago, we beat Toronto. But before that, we had a 5-game losing streak, all on the road except for one game. It's been a little rough. And so I'm coming on here just to kind of put things in perspective a little bit for this newly constructed Phoenix Suns roster, what we should look for and expect going forward because of this. And I think there's a lot of good that can come out of this bad that we've experienced this last 2-3 weeks, right? For one, we can't always lean on this, but for one, Dillon Brooks, Mark Williams, they've been out for the last 2-3 weeks, maybe a month at this point. Dillon Brooks broke his hand and Mark Williams has like a stress reaction in his foot. He's always been battling that foot. So we haven't had our full team. And by the time we got Jalen Green, and he's been on and off, I think he's doing better. Once we got him, Dillon Brooks goes out with the broken hand. So for one, we've been battling injuries all year, and that did not help us whatsoever when we were on this in these last 10 games where we've gone 4-6, and it's been tough. And so I validate the feelings of frustration, but at the same time, I think people need to look at this for what it is. At the end of the day, the Phoenix Suns deserve what they got, right? They deserve to be 4-6, because of play, because of inconsistencies, because of the things that as a fan base and obviously as them too, they need to be better at. Taking care of the ball, hitting shots, getting people open, and people really just stepping up. We didn't see that all the time in the last 10 games, but I think as the season is peaks and valleys, I think this valley that we're in, and hopefully with this win at Utah, we can go beat Memphis, we can go beat Orlando, we can go beat Charlotte, we can go beat Chicago. We can go 5-6, 7-0, 8-0. There's 8 games left, and there's a lot of possibility. And hopefully this win at Utah, we're shooting the hell of the ball, can give us some momentum to close out, because we're sitting in the 7th seed. Houston's 3 games above us, around 3 games above us right now, in that 6th spot. And it's been tough because at one point we're looking at that 4, 5, 6 seed, and we're like, yeah, dude, we're gonna get out of that play-in. But granted, just from the overall team play and injuries, it hasn't been the case. The losing streak of 5 games and being 4-6 in our last 10, ultimately, I think not only do we deserve to be 4-10, but this is good for us. It's good for the Phoenix Suns. This can pay dividends going forward for the team. And here's why I say that. I say that because a newly constructed roster, right? We have Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, Mark Williams, and some new pieces. Look at Malawak, Fleming, all these guys who've also been getting good run that we drafted this past year, especially with Mark Williams and Dillon Brooks being out. We got these rookies some time. But anyways, this is a new roster. We lose Kevin Durant. We lose Bradley Beal. And we didn't have much out of that. We kept Royce. We kept Ryan Dunn. We kept Grayson Allen. We kept Oso and some other cats. But at the end of the day, we brought in Dillon Brooks, Jalen Green, all those guys I already mentioned, in to play significant roles on the team. So for a newly constructed roster, right, this is something that they need. So the next time they get this situation presented, whether it's in this 8-game stretch to close the season out, or whether it's next year or the year after, it will pay dividends in terms of experience, knowing how to navigate it together, right? And it's been really tricky because Jalen Green's only played maybe 20 games, 23 games so far this season. Like, I still feel like he is getting his feet wet on how to gel with the team, how to fit in, where to plug in, what to do in certain situations, when is it time for him to step up. We've seen him put up a plethora of shots, and sometimes sometimes, the inconsistency of it all is frustrating, but I think that's him just gelling, getting fit. And we haven't even seen our full, our projected starting lineup that in a perfect world, a healthy world, we would have. Mark Williams, Devin Booker, Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks. We haven't seen those guys play together. Like Jalen Green, Devin Booker, and Dylan Brooks right now, they haven't played many games together. So at the end of the day, this is good for us. It's good for the role players and it's good for the team. And it sounds a little backwards, but that's truly what I believe, because going forward, we will have this experience. We'd be like, we have been at the lowest of the lows. When we were supposed to win games and ball out and get into that 5 spot, 4 spot, we didn't do that because of this. Okay, so now when we're in these kinds of games, going forward, again, 8 games going, like the 8 games that close the season out, or next season, the years after, we will know how to navigate it. And sometimes teams need to see the lowest of the lows so they have something to work towards, they have something to learn from. And I think this can be a big learning experience for this Phoenix Suns team. It sucks, and that rationale might seem backwards to some people. It is what it is, but I find that to be true, because when you look at any young team, you're looking at high school, you're looking at college, you're looking at the pros, a lot can come from adversity and a lot can come from failure. So I guess it really depends on how the players and the organization handles it, because yeah, there is pressure. Like we now have playoff expectations, which maybe we didn't at the beginning of the season, so there is pressure. But now when that pressure comes in the future, again, sometime this season or next season or the seasons beyond, we have the experience, we have been there, we have failed there, and this is how we learn from those experiences to make us better. And at the end of the day, I think this is good for the Suns because it makes us better in the long run. We still have a youngish core. Book's not even 30. He turns 30 this year. Jalen Green's like 23. Dylan Brooks like 27, 28. We still have a young core that we have plenty of years ahead of us to look forward to. But don't jump off the wagon now and just put your nose up to this team, because they have had this tough stretch when we needed them to play their best. And that's where it's frustrating, right? I get that. This is when they need us the most, the fan base the most, to stay positive, to stay in it, root for them, cheer them on, because at the end of the day, we were never winning an NBA championship this year. We're not going to beat OKC, and we're not going to beat the Spurs. Everybody else in the Western Conference, I feel confident with. Who knows? Something crazy could happen, and if we see the Spurs in the first round, I wouldn't mind that. If we see OKC in the first round, I feel like we match up better with OKC. When we're talking the Spurs, they match up very well with us. We match up very well with them, but they have Wemby, and I think that's the tough part about that. But with OKC, I think we match up with them. I'd rather see them in the first round series, personally. But regardless, unless something crazy happens, I think the Spurs and the Thunder are just levels above everybody else in the West right now. I think those two are playing the Boston Celtics. One of those two are probably playing the Boston Celtics coming out of the East, because I feel like the Celtics are the best team in the East, especially with Jason Tatum coming back. But now we're sitting in this playoff situation where we are 3.5 games behind the Rockets, and we're looking at the play-in, which can be scary. But at the end of the day, back to what I was saying, is this is where they need the fans the most, to stay positive and enjoy what we're seeing. We're looking at a team that was projected to win like 29 games or something like that at the beginning of the year, to be one of the worst teams in the NBA. But here we are at one point in the season, we're like, we can get this 4 spot, we can maybe get the 3 if we keep playing well. But with injuries and just inexperience as a whole together, from a coaching staff and the players, like it's shown. And I think it was kind of supposed to, right? When you look at everybody else in the West, outside of maybe Houston, OKC's had that core for a while. The Spurs has had that core for a while. The Nuggets have had their core for a while, and they've won a championship together. The Lakers, they got Luka last year, but the Lakers are a little different. But like Houston even has that core they've had for a while outside of KD. That pays dividends going forward. So again, back to what I was saying, like they've all gone through their rough stretches as organizations. OKC, San Antonio, the Lakers, the Nuggets, the Timberwolves, the Rockets, right? They've all gone through that. We're going through that right now, but we're still in the playoff picture. So that's something I believe to be proud of. And I think this tough stretch is something that we can look back on hopefully in the future and be like, yeah, we needed that, because a lot of good came from that failure. Again, we have Memphis coming up, Orlando, Chicago, Houston, Dallas, Los Angeles, and then we close it out with OKC in the last game of the year. And OKC's probably sitting SGA, J-Dub, Chet, all of them, because they're going to have their playoff spot clinched, and they're probably going to be the number 1 seed in the West. So realistically, there is a world where we can go 8-0 here, and who knows what the Rockets do, who knows what the Timberwolves do, and who knows what happened. Like we could still get out of the play-in play-in, I think our schedule going forward is very favorable for us to get out of this play-in depending on what Houston does. And that's why I'm saying we need to rally behind this team. Yes, it's been frustrating the last 2-3 weeks. Dylan Brooks is on his way to come back. Who knows what Mark Williams' status is? But as long as, in my opinion, as long as we get Dylan Brooks back, man, like we're right there. We are right there. And I think what the Suns have done this year is something to be very proud of. And there's a lot ahead of us. We got to go beat Memphis. Orlando's always going to be a tough game. They're a great team out east, but I feel like we can beat them. We can beat Charlotte if we can just play some defense. We can beat Chicago. We can beat Houston. We can beat Dallas. We can beat LA. We can beat OKC if they sit their play. We can beat them anyways. We've played them tough this year. We can go 8-0, but at the very least, if we go 6-2, 5-3, that at least gives us a shot to catch up to Houston, depending on, again, on what they do and depending on what Minnesota does. I feel like Minnesota's a better team than Houston. But anyways, the bad has been bad, and I understand that. But hopefully, this will pay off going forward. Not just this season, but next season. Because a young team and a newly constructed roster with a first-year head coach, like, they need to see the low. They need that failure, is really what I'm trying to say. And I think it's going to be good for us going forward, right? We've seen all these good teams in the West and all these good teams in the East. You know what I mean? Like, they've had their lows. They've had their failures. It just so happens that right now, we are kind of going through that slump when we needed not to be. We're still sitting in a good spot. I don't think the Clippers will catch us, but it looks like we're probably playing Golden State or Portland. Probably Golden State, that first matchup in the play-in, if I'm getting this right. And I believe we have to lose twice. We have to lose twice in that play-in to miss the playoffs. So a lot to look forward to, and there's a lot to be proud of when we talk about this Phoenix Suns teams this season. But at the same time, there's things that need to be fixed, and hopefully it does. But this failure is experience at the end of the day, and hopefully we can use that as experience going forward to navigate these situations better, close out games, and win games we need to win, right? That we're supposed to win. We need to win those games every single time. We can take the L to Denver by 2. That's a top 3-4 team in the West right now. Jokic hits the game. We're like, I can live with that, but I can't live with losing to Milwaukee at home. I can't live with losing to Toronto. I can't live with losing to Minnesota without Ant. Like, those are games that we needed. Granted, we were hurt too, but at the same time, it is what it is at this point. But we got 8 games left. I'm comfortable in the play-in if that's where we end up, but I think we can still get into that 6th seed, and I think our schedule going forward, season ending April 12th, I think that will be, I like where we're at. I like where we're at. It's not ideal where we could be right now, but it is what it is. So anyways, let me know what y'all think. Skywalking with Wetz podcast. Like and subscribe. If you don't, it is what it is. You'll find me anyways. Love y'all. Go Suns.